Hello, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council and the public. Adam Smith, City Manager's Office, here with a purchase and sale agreement between the successor agency and developer Many Mansions. The recommendation is that the successor agency adopt a resolution approving the proposed and approval of the transfer of the proceeds from the sale to the Ventura County Auditor Controller, and that the City Council conducts what's called a 33433 hearing and adopt a resolution making findings pursuant to that 33433 hearing, approving the sale of the property from the successor agency to Many Mansions. What's before you tonight is a decade-long directive from the state of California to wind down the affairs of the former redevelopment agency, which was the Community Development Commission. In 2012, all redevelopment in California came to an end, including the CDC, and the CDC was prohibited from continuing operations and entering into any new contracts or commitments. The CDC, when redevelopment ended, had approximately 50 properties on its balance sheet. And at the end of where we are now, there's 7 properties left over from those 50. And here they are. They're all along Meta Street in downtown Oxnard, labeled here 1 through 7. The subject property of this report is property number 1, that long skinny rectangle that spans Meta Street to the west to the alley to the east. In November of 2020, the successor agency entered into an exclusive negotiating agreement, or ENA, with Many Mansions for the prospective sale of that property, which is located at 538 Meta Street. That ENA was approved by the successor agency and then subsequently brought before the County Oversight Board for their approval, which was granted in November of 2020, and then that ENA forwarded to the State Department of Finance for their approval, which was granted in December of 2020. Here's the location of the property, sandwiched in between 2 affordable housing developments that Many Mansions is going to construct here in the downtown. And the property is envisioned as a pocket park that's accessible to the public and will be maintained by Many Mansions. Now, the property bisects 2 of those affordable housing properties, like I mentioned, one on East 6th Street and one on 536 Meta Street. The East 6th Street property will be 87 units, mixed use. So there'll be commercial on the bottom floor, and then up top will be affordable housing, 87 units. And that's called the Central Terrace Apartments. And then on Meta Street, there will be an 88 unit affordable housing development, and that's known as the Spire Apartments. So the Spire is up there. The next one, here we go. Aspire Apartments is number 1, 88 units, 100% affordable. It'll include approximately 1,800 square feet of commercial space, sandwiched in between the successor agency property there. And then number 2 is Many Mansions' second affordable housing development, known as Central Terrace Apartments, 87 units, 100% affordable, 2,400 square feet of commercial space. So the property, as you can see here, sandwiched in between, it's only 25 feet wide, and the intent from Many Mansions is to acquire this property and then develop a publicly accessible pocket park, which is consistent with the city's downtown code requirements for developments in the downtown. Now, including this property, Meta Street, the properties we'll call, 538 Meta Street, it just makes sense due to its size, where it's located in between these 2 other affordable housing developments, and just ultimately the difficulty to develop anything else on that narrow strip. Including the property as a publicly accessible park will help reduce blight and improve the neighborhood, which by creating this public park or paseo, community pocket park, will be open to the public and as mentioned previously, it'll be developed and managed by many mansions and not the city. Here's a rendering of what it'll ultimately look like there. Up top in yellow is the one affordable housing development known as Aspire Apartments. And then on the bottom there is the pocket park. You can see the nice walking path. There are softscapes and trees, some play equipment, barbecues, seating areas. So it'll just offer the residents of the neighborhood a place to recreate and get them some green space. During the term of the ENA between many mansions and successor agency, staff negotiated a purchase and sale agreement or a PSA for the sale of the property. And as a part of the PSA process, successor agency staff did have a appraisal done on the property in July of 2020, and that appraisal report stated, quote, only one land sale in the downtown was available from which to discern current land values, and that a secondary set of sale comparables was included in the appraisal, which included parts of LA County. So there wasn't a lot to compare the property to at that time because there wasn't any sale comparables in the downtown at the time. So the appraiser had to expand the radius of properties examined to include parts of LA County. The fair market value was determined to be approximately $252,000. In September 2020, many mansions had a third party, Harrison Associates. They produced a fair reuse value analysis. Now, what a fair reuse value analysis does is it'll look at the estimated market value for the development of the property based on what that property will be used as after the sale. And the fair reuse value analysis concluded that the market value is zero. Now that's based primarily on the analysis of the property's dimensions. It's very narrow and it's difficult to construct anything on the parcel. It's only 25 feet wide. Its stated future use was a public pocket park, and then finally the downtown code zoning requirements. So the fair reuse value analysis, it summed up its own conclusion by stating, like I said, the dimensions of the property and the setback requirements per the downtown code make the property not conducive to commercial or to future commercial or residential development, and the property doesn't contain any improvements and will not generate any cash flows given its planned reuse as a park. And then the fair reuse value analysis also found no comparable property sales given the planned reuse of that property. In other words, it couldn't find any other property sales where that property would be a public pocket park or public park in the area to compare. Switching to the park's master plan, which seeks to guide city officials their decision-making for the future development and management of city parks. The park's master plan identifies the 5 Points neighborhood residents. The plan states that develop into parks when and if resources become available. So the sale of this property to many mansions for a public pocket park is consistent with the city's parks master plan. On subsequent slides here, I'm going to go through a summary of the terms of the PSA and the grant deed. For the PSA, the proposed purchase price of the property will be $1, and escrow will open on the approval of the PSA by the DOF. Escrow closing date will be on or before December 30th, 2022, and many mansions will be responsible for all closing costs. The grant deed will restrict the use of the property to be a publicly accessible park made available at reasonable closing hours, just like other public parks operated by the city. The covenants run with the land, and the term will be for 55 years. There is a right of reverter. It will come back to the successor agency if the property was no longer used as a public pocket park maintained by Many Mansions or its successors. The 33433 report, which is required by state law before any successor agency-owned property is sold, has staff has to provide analysis on the value of the property, what it'll be used for according to the old downtown redevelopment plan. And then and this has to be done before the successor agency or any legislative body approves the sale or lease. And that summary report, the 33433 summary report, is attached to the staff report. Environmental impact was done both on the Aspire Apartments affordable housing project as well as this public pocket park, and it was determined that this sale is exempt from CEQA. Speaking to financial impact, the sale price of this property will be for its fair reuse value of $1. Many Mansions will pay all closing costs and related items, including escrow fee, plus any customary costs, courting fees, taxes. Net proceeds from the sale will be transferred to the county for distribution to the other county taxing entities. They'll split that $1 up, and there's no impact on the city's general fund. Concluding with the recommendation is that the successor agency approve the proposed PSA with Many Mansions for the property. And the city council conducts the public hearing pursuant to state law, California Health and Safety Code section 33433, and adopts a resolution making findings pursuant to 33433. And with that, that concludes my presentation. Thank you.